So, yes, Sanjay. So, we'll wait for a few minutes, 2, 3 minutes. Then we'll begin the sessions for today. Today we have to do a lot of things. Since we are having a very less time left actually, and the topics are a number of topics to be covered. So on that aspects, we'll do it. Try to do it as much possible for today and tomorrow. Okay. Also, we have made a request for one more session extensions, so that may be likely to get on the next week. Two more added, yes, yes. So that's not a problem. So that request they have accepted. That's a good thing because today we will cover the examples related to the Spring Boot applications. Then we need a few days time for doing the REST applications, REST controller, because Spring Boot projects are not that much in use nowadays. We need a REST controller oriented project. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. So that's good. So yeah, yeah, great news. I'm also thinking for that two more extensions, so that last week we can cover the microservice and the DevOps tools, and tomorrow we'll do the REST applications. So from tomorrow onwards, those things are actually we needed in the project level, but the previous things are also required to build the next things like REST applications, because we are going towards the service-oriented architectures. So normal Spring Boot applications, it's like one single project, so that kind of scenario are not reusable and not cost effective. It's the entire project, so that's why the REST projects are more popular and industry required that only. So that aspects will cover tomorrow only. Okay. But today, since we have done few examples with the XML, then annotations, and while I was doing the boot things, it was having some restarted my system because of the last moment Windows update. Actually, I configured it for Sunday actually. So in the evening, so it was some time, so I could not restart that time my system. So that was the few means that times we could not connect actually that my system was under the updates actually. So somehow in the Monday or Tuesday I configured it on Sunday evening. So maybe because of it, it was not starting actually. So it's actually completed by 11:15 or 11:20. Okay. So then I thought to message. I already messaged to the Simply Learn the coordinator, so that I'm unable to connect again. So that's not an issue. We have covered those things. Today we'll recap those few things again. Okay, so now I can see 25 participants. So first, today what is the agenda? So we will start with the revision of the few things last week we have done. So it's like a recap things at least of Spring MVC architecture. So recap of that. Then next things today we'll do the Spring Boot applications. So one applications for Spring Boot applications to start with, like one login application. Okay, so the working of the boot Spring Boot things you will be able to know that. Next we'll cover Spring Boot application form validation. these are the big projects, so I will try to explain from that. That will you will be understand those things because we have actually complete those topics also. And then finally, will so these projects, these applications will contain the uh, bean, or we can say model, controller, service architecture, service layers. Okay, so these things will cover actually model, controller, service layers in these above two applications. And finally, we'll discuss one project also, one projects which will cover the one Spring Boot, Spring Data JPA project. Okay, so this Spring Boot, Spring Data JPA will cover the aspects of implementations of Hibernate, of Hibernate. Okay, and they will have this one more layer will be added, model, controller, service, and further repository for connecting with MySQL database. So one project which will help you to identify how the things actually works. So those aspects will cover. So we have huge things to cover today, and we'll first begin with the recap of the starting things of the Spring MVC architecture. Then we'll go with the Spring Boot applications, login applications. So partly some code I will write, but most the view things I will have already in my list added. So I will try to run from that also, so that the logic part at least you can understand. Then you can connect with the view part, JSP pages. So that already I have kept in my this directory structure. So a few parts I will write partly code to get this starting understanding. Okay. So these are the requirements because I would like to complete today with the Hibernate and JPA implementations with the Spring Boot applications. So the project will give you the best idea about how the things are actually working in that. So that will do towards last uh, hours. So first we'll do the Spring Boot applications without database. So that will contain model, controller, service layer only. When we add the JPA repository, then the last layer will. Okay, so then we will have the last one, that is the connecting with MySQL database. And from tomorrow onwards, the things will more change. It will be Spring REST using Spring Boot. So the Spring REST with the REST controller, not the controller thing. So that is what we have planned for today. And hopefully you are aware of the Spring MVC architecture one more time, just quick revision of it. Okay. So I think how many of you have joined now? It's almost all. So the last week actually, I have used this one, Spring MVC, right? So the working of that Spring MVC flow. We have this web app, web INF, starting one with having done with configurations. Okay. So here we use the configurations file. and then we are calling through the web applications, so that initializer things, right? So this was done something on the last week. What you are asking? Update two more classes for this phase by management. Yes, yes. REST API I will start after this one. Okay, because Spring Boot topic with the database things, Hibernate will complete, then we'll do the REST API. Okay, no problem. I planned accordingly. So this REST application microservices will start in that flow. So at least one part will complete today. So till the JPA layer with the Spring Boot applications. Okay, so don't worry, we'll do it in a phase wise and the serial topics are like that. So whatever we have. Okay. Yes, Manikant. Yeah, Sumit, what you are suggesting that two more classes. Okay, okay. Yes, we have made a request. I also have sent a mail to the team, Simply Learn team management regarding these things. I hope they are also aware. So these things maybe because of it, because we cannot complete all the things in this today and tomorrow. So obviously we need more applications and all, right? My voice is low. I am speaking on the speaker actually. So please check at your side. I can't say that my voice is low. It's 100%. Again, I'm checking. So just check. I'm audible now. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, 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 okay. Okay, headphones. No, headphones again. It's generally I take the session without headphones. Okay, so unnecessary connecting with that and speaking with that headphones. It's better that we have a powerful speaker over here. Directly we can speak on that. So I think you are able to hear me, right? So for the starting things, let's see this configurations, enable web embassies, component scan, and we are having that at the rate bean. So view resolver, basically internal resource view resolver, what is the role of it? This will resolve the views with JSP files. Where is the locations of the JSP file? So in the configurations point of view, we'll use at the rate bean. So this is my bean method, get view resolver, which earlier used to write in the mapper file, right? So this is the starting one, and then the next thing is this abstract annotations config dispatcher servlet initializer, where we just connect with my config class, and then this servlet mapping this path given to that. So this is the configurations thing. Here we have done with the bean and the controller. Now we'll go with the bean controller and service. And finally, the last in the project level, we'll do with the bean controller and the bean controller service and the repository, all the four layers. Okay, so this marks, I already have uploaded the things on the next day itself. I hope you have received that thing, right? So these are my model file. These are the getter setters here. Okay, here, and then next one is controller. So we write those controller request mapping by default. It's having get actually. So we can have the get, post, put, and delete. All these options are there. So in the REST application, it will be REST controller, and this will be get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, delete mapping at the rate. But in the boot level, we have only request mapping. We can write method equals to get or method value. We can request method dot get or put or delete all those options. So Here we have to specify it. If we don't specify, by default it is a get. So when we insert some things, model and views, as we have said, it's directly take the views also insert marks, and then insert marks we have the results. So it will display those combining results. So this was done on the last week. Now Spring Boot applications. So we goes with this. You have a Spring STS. This STS tool. In STS, you have the direct options to create the Spring Boot application. But in each case, if you are using the Eclipse, so you need to manually download from the Spring Initializer. So that time I downloaded almost, and then you have to import in the Eclipse, and then you can further add those dependencies whichever required. So the process of building the Spring Boot applications for the Eclipse, you need to download from the website Spring IO.initializer. So from that you can download. But if you are using this ID, you don't have to do it. Here we have direct options: file, new, others. Not here. This new, not coming. Others, Spring starter project. Okay, so this directly the same thing like the initializer which we have. So here it is inbuilt in the STS. So Eclipse you have to do it manually. After downloading you have to import, but here you have these things you can directly configure it. So it's like name is given demo, any project name you can write like my app. It's taking Java version 1.17 actually. So based on your availability of the version, you can select. By default, it will select the latest one. Next, and it's a Spring Boot actually 2.71 getting configured. So the latest one is 3 actually, but this one is configured. And here you can add those dependencies directly. So in case if fewer dependency, you will not be able to add it directly. You have to go to the manual basic structure it will create, however. Okay, so suppose I want this wave to be added. So Spring Wave. Okay, just for example, this only I've selected here. Next, and few things, servlet, JSTL, etc. You can do it from the repository. All the things are not available, but initially it will build a Spring Boot application. Okay, so when we do the finish things, so you can see it is creating this Spring Boot application. So it will take few minutes, and then it will download it. Okay, the applications Spring My App. You can see these things are created by the system, means the environment already it's created, and in the pom.xml it will add that dependency which I've selected actually. So Spring Starter Web project. So you can see here Spring Boot Starter Web already added here. Test by default the testing purpose. So this is a Spring Boot application, and here the annotations which will get actually at the rate Spring Boot application. Okay, so this is like a combination of at the rate configuration at the rate enable web MVC. Instead of we can do this one direct at the rate Spring Boot applications. So that is why I tried to show you the transition. Also today one of was asking like REST application. So my intention is to go the things one by one to connect the previous things to the next thing. So that is why after completing the JPA with project, means with the database connecting, then finally we'll done the one part of it. Then we'll go to the REST applications. So the idea is to connect the previous things to the next thing. So you can connect, means understand the differences. So in the previous example which we have in Spring MVC, where we writing compared to this one config file. So we have written this one. Okay, and then the component scan obviously to find the controller, and this is to get the view. Where is the view things related? Now I don't need this class to write again. This bean and all. This we will do the wiring on this properties dot properties file. Okay. Second, this dispatcher abstract annotation dispatcher and slicer also we don't need. So now you can compare the abstract layer, like how much abstractions they are made using the @Spring Boot application. Simply one class which run itself. Spring applications dot run my applications, comma args. So applications, Spring application, this one you can check. This is Spring Boot class, Spring applications, and class that can be used to bootstrap and launch Spring applications from the Java main method. So this will run the class itself, my applications dot class, because the run method is having a class primary source, string args. So this actually run this, and it is configurable application context, return type, and static also. That's why you can access directly with the dot. So this simple things also you will get automated coding also. So no need to configure it, and this is the advantage over the previous things with the Java annotations. And previously, more last with the starting we have seen with XML, where we using the mapper file and the web.xml we write the things like the dispatcher servlet. But here you won't get the name even of dispatcher servlet. So these things are abstract and they are maintaining in the library which connecting with the annotations. Okay. So this one is completed. Now here, unlike if you take a file and go for a Spring MVC project, web architect archetype web, like in the Maven perspective, if you build it, you will get the web app folder also and the web INF folder. But here in this case, you won't get that. So just look at this one, my app in the source code. After main, there is nothing because they are mostly creating for the REST applications because JSP pages are not in use. It is almost professionally not required. But since in the beginning of things, at least a few JSP pages will help you. So the view component they are not required. We can do with the testing with the Postman or ARC, Advanced REST client. All those tools are there. And then we can connect with the Angular or React with the REST endpoints to call that thing. So the view things they are not giving. So, but for our purpose, when we are going from one step to another step, so we are going to build a view with the JSP pages for the time being. Okay, and this JSP pages purpose you won't get here in this Spring Starter project. So how to add that in case if you want these things? So simply just right click on this SRC main, and on the main we have this folder. So on the main we can have the web app folder you can create manually. Okay, other or folder. So you can create the web app, finish it. And in this here in the main web app, you can create further folder, that is web inf info folder. And in that, you can further create a folder called views or JSP. So that thing you have to do manually. Okay, so when you take the Spring Starter project, you need to do it manual this thing, because in future we will not use the JSP pages, so they are not providing that support. Okay, so this is what we can do with that. And in the pom.xml, we need to add few dependencies. Here, in the previous example, in the Spring MVC, we used a Tomcat server, if you remember that. So here we will not use the external Tomcat server. Okay, so in this case, we will add the embedded server. So that will save a lot of time for file not found, server getting crashed, because Tomcat, most of the time, the 70% time goes to the debug thing. To avoid those things, what is saying? Yeah, we have dot system without that. Yes. You can create the web.xml also, that will be better actually, because it's depending upon the things like uh, web.inf, you can create the web.xml also in case if you want, but not required at this moment. So these things manually you have to create. But if you take the file and Spring web application Maven project, web app things will come. Okay, so that you can check on that because configuration things are very high in the Spring. Actually, I'm telling you, that is why I'm discussing this thing. I know these things are when students are doing themselves, they say, sir, it is not there, this not there. So after discovering those things, better I tell in advance all these things. Okay, because I'm taking with all the places, so I know these things are a common query actually. So that's why I've given this introduction for the starting configurations. Now I will create partly some code here, but I have the projects here. I will show from that as well. But for better understanding, we'll write some starting code. So let's take one case study. Okay, here before that, we need an embedded server. Server will be not from external. Do you have any? Uh, Let me complete actually, because I have a lot of backlog actually right now. So let me complete all the topics with 3rd July. Then if required, we can request one more session. Okay. So topic wise, so many topics, so we have to complete it. And that's why I'm just focusing on that. So don't worry, we'll discuss it and we'll try to do all the things. So I'm aware of that things like you are starting with, yes, lot of doubts. So obviously, okay, we'll take that some of things. Yes, when you're trying to do the something, you will get the doubt, and that is a good thing. Error will happen, debugging the things, stuck for hours. That is a normal process of software engineers. So without that, we can't successfully learn the thing. Without error, everything runs fine. Then you will not try any extra effort. So those things are good actually for starting things. So anyhow, so just going with this one. Here, configurations part, we have to add one more thing like, okay, I've closed the window. Okay. So what kind of doubts you are getting generally? Means Spring architecture or? these things. Okay, we'll discuss after this few examples. Okay, MEN repository. Yes, yes. Okay, okay. MEN repository. Yes, yes. So at least let me start today's things because time is moving very fast, and I have a lot of things to cover. So here we have what is actually we are going to take Tomcat. Okay, so Tomcat actually we need to add internally. It's not given from the external source. So we can have Tomcat embed, right? Hyphen embed hyphen Jasper. So here you can see a lot of things are there. So this, for example, 10 is the latest one, but it will work or not, that will also a problem. So you have to check with the dependencies also, previous one, if it doesn't work in the first time. So here we add the Tomcat immediate Jasper. Okay. Or if you are not sure about the version, etc., you can write the scope. Okay. Scope as provided. Okay. So that also works. What you are asking? 1 minute. No, Tomcat without how we need a server, right? Without server, how you can bring to the browser? External server you don't require. Last time, if you have, yes, why we are adding this repository? To get the Tomcat calling it, so you need at least one server, external or internal. This is internal. So it will not crash like that previous times. If you run one JSP program, one Spring framework example, then Tomcat is very fragile. It will not work next time. It will say current representations not found, this page not found. Lot of things happen in the configuration thing. So better we have to pass as an internal one, embedded Jasper. Or if you write the provided the scope, so it will connect with the current JDK version with that only. So you don't have to specify the version. So scope you can change with that. And also you need to add one more dependency that is for servlet. So if you want to add the JSP pages, then those servlet things are required. Since here no JSP page, so it's not giving any error here. You can see that. But the moment you add any JSP page, it will not work. So for that, you have to go with one servlet dependency also. So latest is 4. Okay. Or if you are using JSTL also, Java Standard Tag Library, so add the JSTL also. You can keep on adding it as and when required. By default, they will give you boot starter web. So you don't have to add the Spring dependency. Spring 5, 5.2 latest 5 point something is there, right? So we don't have to add. It will take care of internal all the things. That is only the things which is required. So this is what the configurations part. Here it's the same structure with having the main/Java, resources, and the test. The additional thing here is scope provided means it will connect with the current scope with the JDK 1.17. So automatically it will connect with that server associated with that at the runtime. Okay. Or if you write the not dependency, you can take this one. This is provided. So this scope is for the current situation. It will connect it because Tomcat 10, 9, whatever I will write, it will not happen. So it's better to take provided. This is scope. Okay, so it's with the impact of your current project setup, it will connect with the runtime directly with that environment. Okay, so because it is downloading it, right? Those things in your repository .mp. Yeah, it will take on JDK version, obviously. Yeah, correct, correct. Yes, yes. So what I was talking now, it's like these things in the previous Spring MVC compared to that we have the resource also, but there was nothing in that. We have to add the XML file dot properties file manually, but you will get here all this configured over here, applications properties. Okay, so this applications properties, those things which we have written here in the Spring MVC in the Java config file, web config, this no longer require this boilerplate code. So Spring Boot having double advantage. One is very less coding. Those boilerplate code you don't have to write. Second, embedded server which you are seeing that it has an advantage that it will not crash all the time. So the configuration issues will not come that much. So you can bootstrap directly. There is a view resolver and this suffix and prefix on the dot properties file. So here you can see that dot properties files, and in this we can directly write, because here it's simply Spring Boot application. So in the applications properties, I'm going to write the server dot port number dot port. Okay, so whatever the port number will provide, it will automatically connect with that port number. So take 2022 for example, and bootstrap those configuration things here. So we have Spring dot m coming now MVC dot view dot prefix now finally. So here you can write wave inf slash JSP. Okay, this one last time forget it. Now this one is so simple compared to here. You are writing those things, view resolver, @bean, all those methods, isn't so? So instead of that, now you can understand from where we have started and where we are going actually. And tomorrow you will see the REST application. Okay, so then there is no further things. So these transitions, you must realize to understand the process of this Spring Boot application. So here those things are not required. Directly we can bootstrap here. Direct. And suffix also same thing. So Spring dot MVC dot view dot suffix equals to dot JSP. This is done in 3 lines, and the boilerplate code you can see this much. And then we need another class, this one, calling this one. So obviously which one is better option? Option better is this one. Always a preference will be given if you are going with the JSP way. The preference is like this one. So 80% code further reducing. And also when towards the last example which I will do with the Hibernate, You will never see those things like session factory manager and session and transactions, fully abstract. So at the rate repository with that and extending the JPA CRUD repository, JPA repository. So gradually the idea is to make the developers very easy to write the code, fully integrated environment and full of annotations with full of abstractions. It connects internally with this, actually they have the Spring Framework library and they have connected with their libraries and it identifies those background things are still working actually. Dispatcher servlet is there, but you can't see right now. So not mentioning over here. We are not writing anything as such. Internally, without dispatcher servlet, nothing is going to happen. Front controller is always going to be the dispatcher servlet, which first take the request, then process it to the next level. Okay, so that is the configuration things, and it was very necessary. So the minimum necessity things I have discussed with you. I hope you understood this till now. So we'll make some. The example is already here, but I will write some of the things so the controller and service layer you can understand. Okay. So the previous example we have covered this one controller and the bean. So we will add one more layer that is service. Okay. And final towards the end we will add repository also. So that is going to make you proper understand all the concepts. So let's take a case study. Like I have this login app. Okay, so just try to do here some part of it. Let's do it. My app. We have this demo. Now come to this one. Case study. I think I have opened this. So this example is basically case study to cover the controller service architecture. So GG login, GG web portal authentication, create a Spring MVC Spring Boot web application for checking the user credentials of GG web portal. Okay. Design a login page to accept username and password from the user. On clicking login, the application should check whether the username and password is valid. Authentication is successful if the username is same as the password. So this is my business logic, which I will write in the service layer. So this example is without the database with the bean, controller and service three layers. So what they are asking this logic actually that the username and password is okay, then it will say authentication is successful. Redirect the user to success.jsp page that display the page login successful, welcome username. Otherwise, redirect the user to the invalid.jsp page to display the message sorry invalid. So these two aspects always will happen. So one is like the credentials they are going to check with the uh, username and password should be same. Okay, so we need to have create a controller class called login controller, create a class called login bean with two attributes, username and password, generate necessary getters and setters, create a login service which has a method called validate that takes login bean as its argument and returns boolean true false. Okay, so service layer will have the method called validate, and it will have an argument of login bean. So the object of it will pass it and will check whether return. We will check that username equals equal ignore case or equal to the password. Then it will return true. Login service should be auto wired inside the login pattern. Now, when we're doing the auto wiring things, as you can understand, those dependencies are injected internally by type. Uh, so the getter setters we don't have to create a right for that specifically. So those boilerplate codes are further not required. The user should be routed via the login controller request mapping. So controller will have this aspect request mapping, get mapping. Request above show login page method to login.jsp. So we need to create few JSP pages. Login.jsp that allows user to enter the username and password. Upon entering the username and password and clicking the login button, the login controller's check login details method should be called. This method takes two arguments, model attribute named login, which hold the form, populated login win object and binding results. So this second options, when user clicks, then it takes the data and the model attribute is given login, which holds the form populated login win object and binding result. So we have all the appropriate attributes are there in the Spring Framework environment, and we need to just focus on that to create all these applications without writing much code actually. Okay, so here this method should check. So this type of case study and doing it will be helpful for you because you have to read this line and try to understand what is actually it is. These are the business document, business case document, and it will be prepared by the business analyst. And the development team members will have these papers on basis of that. They will write those methods, variables, return types, everything is already pre-planned and documented in the real-time scenario in the industry. It's not on a verbal communication. So the name of the class, controller, everything properly, naming things are done previously only before you start doing the coding. So I will share this case study also. Not this again, another one. So both the cases, starting example, have the case study. So both the case study I will share. One more case study I will share it to you, for you have to do it when you get the time. Okay, so at least plan for 3 case study, and hopefully it will give you correct understanding of the bean controller service architecture. Okay, so that's the plan. Now see this one. This method should check whether username is same or password, invoking the validate of login service. If it is valid, then redirect the user success.jsp page with message login successful. Otherwise, redirect try again. Partial code is given. Okay, so this would be the designing aspects. Username John and the password is also John. Then it will say login successful. Welcome, John. Okay. And the failure thing, so when John and enter something, it will say sorry, invalid credentials. Try again. So this is the case study which it suggests for the current requirement is like that. So design constraints, we need to create the login.jsp in which text box, username, password, submit, all things will be there. Result has to be rendered. Yes, I will share it. Don't worry. So But only request you please develop the habit of reading it, reading the things and doing the coding. For a greater success in the development aspect, nothing will be like haphazard, starting the coding and then rework and all. Everything is properly given. You will have the documents all the time in your software development, and they will write the name also. What should be the name of the field? And exactly you have to maintain same. Cannot change anything in that. So it is all pre-decided by the senior members, analyst discussions with the client. They prepare this business document and then share to the individual development team members. Okay, so success.jsp, the result has to be rendered in H2 tags. Failure means has to be rendered in H2 tags. So that tag is H2, which is a bold tag, it's starting H1, H2, H3, H6 up to there. Then class name, we have a controller class, so the name of the class should be login controller. This name you have to take. Should be inside the package com.controller. So package name is also given. Now what is the controller going to have? Controller will have this use annotations to auto-wire, service layer, login service, access specifier should be private. So this will auto-wire and the validate method will be connect with the controller after that. Method name, method argument, name type, return, request mapping. Controller will have a request mapping method and type, return type, method argument. So it is like this one. This will be the context path. When on the browser you type this one, login. So it's going to return the JSP page. Model attribute login, login bean, type is string, and the method name show login page for the request mapping. So request mapping has to be done with the show login page. And this method will be having request mapping / login. And it method has model attribute login, login bean. So this model attribute is actually the JSP page. We declare a model attribute and through the path we connect it. Okay, so we'll show you, just wait some time, model attribute. So without writing much code, it all internally it will link the form data with the binding results. So that will come. Then the second method will have in the controller is the this one, check login details, request mapping. So where we will use post actually submit login. So submit login will be the URL, context path, type should be string, it should be having login, login bean, and the binding result. So the data which we will pick up, so it will return with the binding result. So here in this case login and login bean, but here we have a login, login bean, result, binding result, 3 parameters, arguments. Here it is only this model attribute and login bean object bean. Here login, login bean object, and the result, binding result. So this binding result extend the error. So error handling can be done with this also. So this is what this thing. Now service layer should be inside the package com.service and validate method. Argument should be login bean. In that method, we will pass this argument login bean, which is our getter setter class. That is our class Pojo class. So we will write login bean object bean. Return type is boolean. So it will check what it will check. Username and password is same or not, which will get through the controller after having a user fill the data binding result. So it will return to the setters and will check that it is with the controller. Service layer will validate these things to identify that it is actually as per the logic. And if class for the bean is should be inside the package com.bean, attribute name, attribute type, username, password, string. So we will create, I'm just going to create the initial few things, then we'll connect with the examples already have because it's already 8 o'clock. Okay, so these things here, starting things we'll do with the bean. Okay, so first of all, we have the package called com.bean. Okay, so com.bean. So we'll go here in the my app, new package com.bean. That's what it is asking. So we create with com.bean package, and then the class name, this login bean. So first we'll create a new class, and the class name should be same as it is mentioned. So there should not be any change as per the document. Login bean. In this case, login bean, we have two attributes. So that also is mentioned here. Username, so take a private string username and private string password. Okay. So this one is taken here. Generate the getter setter for it as per the requirement. So create a source, go to the source, generate getters and setters, and it will create the Java Bean reusable components. Password, select that one. So this is my class for the bean. Okay, so this model class we have completed during session. 1 minute. We're not connected already to. Okay, no problem. Yes, no problem. We'll connect. I have your number. Don't worry. What was you saying? Yes, bean is done, na? So login bean is over. Now after that, one by one, just do like this. Seeing this, it will be easy also. In after doing some documentations and doing the coding, you will be finding it easier. Initially, it looks uh, just you are fixed with the method and name and all, but finally it looks good. So we create the service layer now. So because we are going to controller to call the service, so before controller we can create the service layer. Right, the service layer. What was the logic? Actually, it is saying that validate method. I think, right? Login service should be auto-valid inside. This will do it later on. Service layer. Okay. Yes. Good. All the MNCs I'm following the curriculum. Now this way I'm doing it. So I'm not going to do any skip or things. Going to connect previous to next so that you can understand. So don't worry, we'll do it. But already 8 o'clock. That's my concern. Yes. So just try to do quickly. This one method argument. So login service. Login service will have a validate method. So let's create this login service also. Take okay package name also com.service. So take the service layer new class sorry package com.service finish this service layer will create a Java class, new class, and class name is login service. Login service. So this class will have a validate method. So this is service class. So starting only we will write @service. So this is my service class. Here service in the Java category it's required to write because we write the business logic separate class from the controller. Why? Because tomorrow my logic business logic will change and I need to connect with the database and all something I can change it. So it's not the code is written in such a nice way and this dependency is injected service auto-wire these things to the controller. So any changes will impact not going to impact to the controller will have all these things calling as usual. So the kind of architecture, layered architecture, this is important to identify that software making is a complex process. It's not that we create a software and forget it. We need to maintain for next 15 years and the requirement will be keep on changing. Lot of things you have to add, lot of things you have to remove. So but it's in the production level. Millions of users are using it. We cannot stop it for some time and say like we are going to do the maintenance. Like Indian IRCTC sites you have seen after 11 it goes on something hiding. So you will not get international sites for any downtime. So because of this kind of aspects, we can easily manage those things. Okay, so save this one and the validate method basically having the argument login bean return type boolean. Okay, so validate take this method here first of all. Validate return type is boolean. Make it public. Okay, and the argument saying that bean, right? So argument is bean login bean. Pass this one login. Bean object. Okay. So this was the method. Actually, it is asking for that, and now it asks for the return. So I will return the username and password should be same. That is what the conditions were given, right? So these things are very easy to do. It's like for this business logic, we can have the getter setters there, right? So getting those things equal to that, it's a normal Java code only. So take bean dot get is there, na? Get username, okay, and equals to bean dot get password. Okay, this is a string method equals. So it compare it and then it will check and will validate true actually. So equals or you can use one more method is there, that is equal ignore case. Uppercase, lowercase it will ignore. That's what we can do it, no problem. So these things are basically the important aspects of the business part of it. You can keep on adding as per the requirements with this file service layer. Okay, and now the last thing is that means here we have the controller. So we have done the bean service. Now we will auto wire first of all in the controller. So everything is with the controller actually. These things will be calling actually. Okay, so the service, login service private. Paste the what is it? Paste the code. I will share this directly to you. I have this example. I will not write the entire code, especially the JSP pages. You want, I can share that. Give me some time. I have this example already. I will show it, but for the starting, because we are connecting in a week's time actually. So if we are having the daily connecting and all this type of things happen, so generally we don't have to go with that. Yes, yes, on Drive I will share it. Okay. So that is why I need to write. Otherwise, I have this example also to share this thing directly. But since it is delay things, once 1 week is a lot of time where you will forget the previous things if you have not studied on that. And also you are seeing a lot of doubts. So that's what, yes, yes, yes. So then we have the controller. So what is the controller things we are required? That is from the browser, we'll call that. Okay, so controller is here, login controller. The name itself, similar name, and the names are given with the standard. Okay, so the controller class, you will auto-wire the service layer. So just take the controller also in Java, new package, com dot controller, right? Com dot controller. It was there mentioned in the package name also. Package name also they have given like com dot controller. Now we will take the class here, controller class. So what is the name given in controller class? Login controller. Login controller means this. So very first thing is at the rate controller. Okay, so now you can see how it is actually good in this form.xml. Only this starter web is added. All the libraries are connected. So the dependency also reduced. Okay, so one dependency taking care of all things, encapsulating it. So that's also a good things to identify that they are maintaining such a minimum code actually. Okay, so that you can do it later. A lot of conveyors. So auto wiring things. Remember that thing. No? So it's like auto wiring with the service layer and private. Okay, so private login service. So we have auto wired as it is saying now. The service to validate method we can easily use now. Okay, so the dependency is given, so that validate method I can call here. Okay, that is the purpose. Now, a few things they have given specifying it. So the login service is over. Request mapping method name they have given. That is show login page. Okay, public method. Okay, show login page and what are the arguments it is asking here. It also we have to check. model attribute, login, and the login bin. Two things. Okay, so okay, this model attribute directly will connect with the JSP page. So JSP page will Spring form will provide that attribute, and this will connect. So let me complete then. Later I will explain in that way. So I'm going to have login. Okay. So this name I will provide in the JSP page. Okay. With this login. So error. Okay. It is not created. So it is showing error. Comma. Okay. Login bean also. No. Login bean object or bean you can write, no problem. Now it will take, correct. What is this errors? Okay, comma will not come. No? Per argument. So return will be the JSP page. Okay, so later it's like a JSP page you can create and connect with that form, etc. Okay. So login page, login bin, and it is saying that request mapping because you cannot run anything like that in the boot environment because it's a web application. So it's saying that request mapping. So by default, it's a gate mapping. You can write also, or if you leave it also, it is a gate. Okay. So here we will going to write at the rate request mapping. Okay. Request mapping value equals to in double quotes slash login. This is the context path. In the browser, we'll call this login, then it will call the login.jsp page. And whatever this form it will display. So form when they enter some value, it will validate with that service layer, and after that it will go to the next JSP page. So several JSP pages you have to write. So it's already there. So we'll show that only. Okay. So login is the view part. Login.jsp, and you can write here also method if you want. Otherwise, by default it's get only. So specifying is like method equals to request method dot get. Now in Spring REST you don't have to do this one. Get, post, put, delete they have created at the rate request at the rate get mapping, at the rate post mapping, at the rate delete mapping, at the rate put mapping directly. But here in the Spring Boot level you have to do the request mapping only, but you have to distinguish with the get, post, put, delete separately. So that is the difference in the REST controller. And instead of controller, it will be REST controller, which is going to be the combination of controller plus response entity, HTTP response. So one more higher level than this also. Okay, so we'll see that tomorrow. Now this method almost we have completed. So that is over. Now they are asking one more, I think so. Okay, check login details. After user will fill the data in the form login.jsp, then check login.detail, it will take the login bin, then the binding agent, three things to bind it. Okay, so same thing just right here, request mapping, give value Login bean, binding results, submit log. Method post show login page. So instead of that, check login details. At the rate model attribute login will be same. Then login bin. One more thing they are adding extra in binding result. So what it will happen, this first will give the login.jsp page. When user enters the data, then when submit, it goes to the submit login. Okay, submit login will call this method, which will have the login and the login bin object and the binding result. So because it has to check with the data, right? Those data which is equal or not, username and password. So here we have this class called binding result. Binding result. Okay, let it try. Binding result. Binding result spelling is wrong or what? Binding binding. Okay, it's not I. This is spelling error, no? Binding. This is you can check here. Open declarations. It is basically interface extends errors and interface error is there. Okay, so for error handling purpose also. And here we will not have this return login. We will have this service layer validations, right? So just automate the service now. So we will take service dot what was the method name? Validate. Validate. Login bean. And we will say that if it is success or failure, redirect on that. So you have to construct a few more JSP pages for the error handling things, binding result. So what is going to happen? We can use the ternary operators in the Java. If it is success, goes to the success.jsp page, else error.jsp page. Error or failure actually, it's validate, it's not calling. That's okay. So this is what the business logic, all those things. Now you have to write the JSP again. It will, I will show you this program already have. So just, I hope you have understood the flow of it, right? So we have to construct couple of the login JSP success error. All these JSP pages have to create. So the important aspects are here that this login JSP also will have this model attribute, which will bind it, and then there is a path concept. So we'll take the Spring form instead of. Okay, so we have taken this here. I hope you understood this one till here. Okay, so for the JSP, yes, yes, going ahead. So this JSP page, okay, okay. So I'm going to just give the JSP page already is there, so I will use that. I will show that username, password, and actually they have the path concept, Spring form. Okay, so I'm going to that code right now. Where is it? Closing this one. So you have to again create it will take further few times. So which one? Bank. This one. Same thing with this help of bin controller service. Okay, service we have the login service. This validate. Okay. Then we have the login applications. Okay, one thing was that time missed out. Okay, so you can do with this form. Obviously, otherwise it will not recognize where is the controller. Okay, so this thing please add this one component scan. Okay, otherwise it will not read that because in the resources where is that resource we have these things, but this because here in the Spring Boot application where is that demo this one. The Spring Boot application is going to connect with dispatcher servlet for 100%. So dispatcher servlet need the component scan, sorry. Okay. So we have given the base path like com. So com related it will scan and search for the uh, base path and search for the controller. That is login controller. Okay. So this constructions we need few JSP pages. Okay. So add this one, then only it will do it. Okay. So JSP pages, I'm just going to give you idea where it is SRC. In the main web app, web INF JSP page. Okay. In this JSP page, we have to create three JSP pages. And look at this first one, because in the controller, this one, we are returning the login.jsp, and here we need success.jsp, invalid.jsp, three JSP. These are the view component, which later on you can do with the Angular or React. So JSP will not require, simply the REST endpoint will be called in. So that we'll do it later, but today's topic through the JSP, if you understand, it's better. So starting is login.jsp. Here, remember, it's a string form, not HTML form. So I'm just opening this one, okay, and explain the code to you. So in this case, this is JSP page, and you know how to take the JSP page. Right click it, new, others, search for JSP. JSP file you will get, and when you save it with the name, it will create a JSP page. Okay. Here these all are not required. One tag leave URI is added, the Spring form. So we are going to use the Spring form URI. And this is very simple. You don't have to write all the things here. Just simply write percentage at the rate. So tag leave. So you can see tag leave will come, or even when you use at the rate, it will show the list also. Three type of uh, directives are there in JSP pages. Include, page, and tag leave. So we'll take the tag leave and prefix. So it will give the prefix So I've taken SF1, and then after that, control space URI. Okay. So this URI, now when we type here, we will get that HTTP colon www dot spring framework tags slash forms. Okay. So use this ID automations, it will do it. Suffix. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Suffix. Suffix. Uh, this you are calling prefix because they have inbuilt URIs. Because we are going to use the string form, not HTML form. So we are going to take this environment tags. They have given all the tags because it's kind of import actually. If you don't include these things, you cannot do this kind of path things. Here we are going to use path. It's not input type text and name equals to this and ID is this. It is different from the HTML form. So Spring environment has given these forms. So you have to import this one. And we all the time we cannot call this, so we have given the short name of it, prefix. So the forms, the forms in created. So SF colon form. Okay. So SF colon form action equals to submit login. So this URI, I'm just deleting this one. So I just shown you it is that by default when you type it, it will come automatically. Don't worry. Okay, but this Spring form tags will be there. URI means Uniform Resource Identifier. So at least the problem, like in the starting time, you have not done any JSTL, JSP things. It is JSP things. We need to do all those URIs, core tags. A lot of tags are there. SQL tags. We have to import like URI and the prefix. So when we use at the rate, this is called page directive. And they are having the attribute language equals to Java. We can import also. There are 12 to 14 attributes are there for page directive. Sub attributes are there. Content type, page encoding. These are not needed actually. Only enough is language equals to Java. But this will not come automatically. If you not use, it will not be giving you this kind of input path username. And here this is one of the interesting things, so that's why I'm showing it, that we required very less coding. What is the reason actually? They are managing it so nicely. You can see here this HTML, hope you understand. BG color, any color you can take, lavender, blue, green, white, any color. So it's going to be the body color. Center means center is spelling wrong, I think. Okay, C and T are okay, it will take RE or ER. It's a heading. And what was the concepts here given in the HTML? Just coming, 1 minute. Username and the password and submit. 3 things. And then when submit, it will go to the submit login. So it is explained in that concept itself, if you see that. Okay, so we'll try to get this idea. So form action submit, when user click on the login button, submit. So it will go to the submit login and it will go to the controller. Okay, then it will process those data. First it load the login.jsp page. Now when it load the login.jsp page, so let it, where I was in login, right? So when it goes to the login, then this form will be loaded, login.jsp. But when user clicks on the submit, then it will go to the submit login, which is in the controller calling the show login, no, not show login, check something, right? Check login detail. So that's what it's connected with that. So in the HTML you have done already. So action is there and the method is there. So post because we are posting, sending the data. Here look at this additional thing model attribute equals to login. And you will get directly here if you write control space, you will get those details. Okay, model attribute. This model attribute I have to pass all the places. This is what the model attribute at the rate to connect with the form. So this where I was in this one, no? This one previous. Okay. So model attribute login. Now table border is the syntax will get two borders, and some thick borders. Here TR table rows, TDs are column. So we are creating first row inside two columns. One for username, and here observe this one SF colon input path equals to username. Whenever you write these things, you will get automatically coming. Like see TD, then SF. The moment you write SF, you will get all the list with the Spring form related. So this directly is runtime. Wherever you see the colon, that means it all are XML tag, runtime tag. So when we select input, colon, input, then immediately the path will also come. It is by default associated with that. So what is this path? It will binding results. So see, this is the great things in the Spring actually. Username, this is my bean actually in this here. Login bean. This username, if you change it, it will not work. Okay, so path it will automatically detect. That is why in the controller we have passed the login and with the login bean object. So this will do what? This login bean will take this login, and here we are having the username same, and again another TD we are using the password, that is the label actually. This one is the main thing, password, path equals to password. This should be the same actually. Any changes will not match this path. So that's why the model attribute at the rate model attribute login we have passed along with the login bin object in the controller method, in the request mapping method. Okay, so this is the process actually where we are connecting with this username and password. Finally, these are the simple TDs with the submit and cancel. Okay, finally, close with SF colon form. It's not mandatory to give the name like SF. You can give any name, but you can access with that name. Generally, the naming conventions should be followed. It is having a Spring framework, so SF is a proper naming sequence. So prefix is given, and through the prefix, you will access all the tags in the URI which is mentioned in the Spring framework.org/tag/forms. So for the UI designing purpose, they have given this UI designing purpose. They have given this URI specifically, where you can have those options which is you are seeing SF forms. This model attribute will not come if you are having the HTML only. So these things are also going to come directly, and whatever the name you are providing, you please give this name to the controller also with the bean object. It will auto detect and map it with the data. Okay, so you understood the first JSP page format? Is it okay? Path things? Okay. So this path must be the bean object. This we have taken those attributes. Sorry. So that username and password, if you remember, it should be same. Otherwise, it will not map. So automatically it map actually with that. and the data it collects then through the binding result. So next one we are collecting the data. So when user get this form, user will enter some value. Suppose John and John. So the controller will see that when user submit it, then the controller will see with the model attribute that data which is set in John and John and with the binding result. So it will able to get that data map with this John and John with this login bean, and it will check the validate method. Means after that binding is only used in case of annotation based validations. So that is also at the rate valid thing is also there. But we are just binding it. So service dot validate login bean success and invalid. So I've given error. Na? So error instead of you write the invalid. Okay. So this two pages you have to design separately. Success.jsp. Success.jsp simply they have given this S2 tag, this login successful. And look at these things. Exactly you have to maintain the same thing like S2 tags, the success.jsp. Or it was failure.jsp. Okay, little things. So this success and failure. So welcome login dot username because it is encrypted format, expressions language. So login dot username it will get whatever the username we have given there in the Spring form. So it will take that name. And invalid case, sorry, invalid case. Let's just try again. Okay. So the entire aspects I've used here because I know we need to invest that much of time actually to identify because some of you in the group I can understand they have done with the rest things and they are knowing that this is okay, means they are aware. But for everyone's benefit, like if you are from different domain basically, so we need to check with everyone should understand the flow and architecture of it, kind of it. So the bean, controller, service, and this controller will return the view. That view is our JSP pages. And currently in this syntax scenario, and these JSP pages are using the Spring forms. This forms has a model attribute path mapping. You can have HTML form, no problem, but then you have to do the request mapping. Again, a request parameter, request param, at the rate of request param. So those things are old style. So why not we utilize the Spring form directly in our applications? So this Spring form, it's not like if you are not using the Spring form, you will not be able to do these things. You have to alter the coding, changes the coding little over here. Instead of model attribute, we have at the rate request param. So the parameter it will take. So that is an old thing. So, but the current scenario, we have a model attribute and this taking this login here and binding, means in this case it is binding result. So login bean. So passing the data, then it will validate this login bean, success and invalid. Finally, we'll run it and comparison to the last thing also when we run in the Spring MVC, this one. So you remember the project name also comes in. In here we have final name given Spring MVC slash the controller things will come. But in case of bean, in the boot, it will not come. So one minute. Okay, leave it. So this one controller, what is the path given? Login. Controller. Okay, okay. Yes, yes, yes. I'm just going to do it. 1 minute. Yes, yes. Where is this controller? Yes. First controller will have this login. It will go to the login.jsp. When it connects with the model attribute login, so the data setting those values with whom? With the login bean object. So we have passed these parameters, two arguments actually, and the second one is this one. So login page, we have the login, and this is login bin. Okay. Third one, we are getting that output also when user is adding, then we are checking with the validate method. Success and failure, we are redirecting it. So the controller actually redirect to the success or failure. And it's in every web application, it happens like that only. Currently, it is not connected with the JPA layer. Otherwise, it would have checked in the database your credentials, name and password. So for that, I kept one big project for you today to show you. So that is why these things with the JPA layer also I am having. Okay. So you understood this controller things. What is the role of controller? Tell me. It is encapsulating the business logic, means business logic part of it. So it's the outlook over here, but it is actually connected with the service layer. Okay. What is the use of 1 minute? Binding result. Binding result is you see these things. So upon entering the username and password and clicking the login button, the login controller check login details. Method should be called. Correct? This method takes two arguments, model attribute named login, which hold the form populated login bin object, form populated login bin object, and the binding result. So username and password with the path we have binded or not. So that form populated data, it will connect with that. Okay, so that is the role of the binding. Okay, not binding, it's binding. General interface that represent binding results extends the error registration capability. So what will happen? Where I got this one? Then it will check the data after the validating, and then it will able to redirect to the error, success or failure. Okay, so that is the parameters we have passed the object of it. So the binding result will take the things and success or failure will be taken with that. Very simple code. It's a Spring MVC is very easy compared to any technology. But this mapping things and writing of this code is so easy if you are using STS. So just control a space. If you remember one single name also, control a space bar. Suppose I just forget this, what is this request method? Okay, this also is a things everyone should know about this. I know that there is a request method, but maybe request map or method or what is that? Because in development segment there are billions of classes, APIs. How can you remember those things? But you know that yes, I have to do something with the request. So then you can recall further. So it's like you type this one, RE control space bar. So it will give you the entire list with the RE related. And when you enter it, then obviously get post. See, some inputs, everyone knowing it, then only can do it, the coding. First time if you are doing it, can't do it. But gradually after having 2, 3 examples completed, you have into the full flow of doing these things of your own. So, but these things are good that you get those HTTP protocols things easily over here. And this become, you know, this italic and bold. Java has its own meaning also. Okay, their request method enums. Annotations. So this is we are going to call this methods and all. Okay, okay. So just run this quickly. Now, how to run the Spring Boot application? I've run it or not? For the first time, I'm going to run. Oh, you are getting error. Okay. Uh, I will check it. Give me a few minutes. Uh, the page that get method is not allowed is only working in images. Get method not allowed. No, no, no. Something may be missing, Manikant. Get method will be allowed all the time. HTTP protocol. How it deny it? Exchange of the information on the browser always happens to the this HTTP protocols. So that is a mandatory thing. You try again. I will see your screen. Just give me 2 minutes to run the code, please. Okay. Where was this one? So this JSP page I have not added. I have used this one previously examples. So right click on this. Yes, it will give me. Okay, okay. I will check. Give me a few minutes. Okay, please. Yes. So Spring Boot applications. You have to do this Spring Boot app. And when you click this, it will start. Remind me later. So you will get this one. Spring Boot 2.18 release. And yes, you have to download. No, 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 no. In the post, you taken this dependency, na? Form.xml. Boot a starter web. So if you are doing, see, you can do the things with various ways. If you are not going with the starter project, you can manually copy paste those dependency in the maven repository. Or if you have this advantage, file, new, others, Spring starter project, go for the next. Here you will search for the web, Spring Web. So automatically all things will be not required. Other things like what is called what was that? Spring Web MVC. It will take care of everything. Okay. 1 minute. Huh? Just. I'm on. ठीक है फोन करता हूँ ठीक है ठीक है Okay, so yes, what was your question? Download is not required. Just you add the dependencies to embedded Jasper dependency, servlet API dependency, or maximum tag-lib JSTL if you want. That much. This test, vintage, etc. not required. And this plugin, it will automatically come to you. Maven plugin was remember. So here it will come like org spring framework.boot. So it's very easy. Just file, starter project, search for web, add it. Few dependency won't get there. You have to manually go to the repository and copy paste, servlet, etc. Okay. So one or two things if you are not getting, you can go with the Maven repository. But the best thing is this one. So it will start. I have started or not? Yes. Console. So after that, you have to simply right click on this, run as Spring Boot app. Okay, understood? So when you click on the Spring Boot app, then immediately you will see the consoles, everything is fine, then the things will stuck here. These things is checking what? All the configurations. Otherwise it will give error. Those dependencies and this application context. Sorry. Okay. This program will do it later on. This applications properties. All this they are checking and starting only. If any issue is there, here it will not launch and stop here at this thing. Here it's saying that Tomcat started on port number 8085. So whatever the port number given, it will say that it is started over here on 8085. Okay. So port number is different taken here 8085. So now only thing is left, already your server is going to run on that case. So simply go to the browser, type localhost colon, what was that name, port number 8085, right? Slash and controller. What is the context path? In the REST application, this will be going to be the endpoint, REST API. So the path slash login will call here login. So what it will do? It will load the JSP page, login.jsp page with username and password, and submit will take to the controller again to the submit login, where it will get the check login detail method called with the login and login win and binding result. It will understand success or failure with after validating. It will redirect to that. Okay. So this is the flow of these things. Slash login. Now enter it. You will get this page immediately. It is JSP page only. This color, BG color and border style, TRTDs. These are the labels. These are the rows, 2 columns. Horizontals are the rows and the verticals are columns. So we have username, password, and the login and can see a reset button. Now when we write here something like suppose admin. Okay, so when we write admin, then what will happen? When we click the login, then it will go to the submit login, and submit login will take the populated data, and through the binding result it will go to the service with the validate, and validate is doing what? It's going to check with the bean object whether it is equal to the password or not. Then this result will come back to here and say yes, it is equal, then success. Else go to the invalid. So it should happen here. Login successful, welcome admin. And when this page is coming from where? This is for the success.jsp. Login.username it is capturing. Welcome admin. Welcome login.username with the model we have attribute. Username it retrieves with the encrypted format, and it's showing this one. You don't write direct code actually in the JSP pages. So all encrypted format means it runs from the entire source, then it will give the data. Otherwise, from any middle level, if someone unethically gets that page and data JSP page, it will not able to connect with all the details. Fully secured environment. Okay, so now you can compare those things. I'm again telling you from the XML to the annotations to the boot level, how much they have modified the code, means the level of it. One still level is required, that is REST controller, but there will be not much differences. If you see that the annotations will be changing, few annotations. So this way they have migrated to the next level all these things. And here when we go to this admin, now just write admin2 here. So obviously it is in Boolean value return false. So it will redirect to the failure JSP and go to the failure.jsp. Sorry, invalid credentials. Try again. So invalid.jsp. Sorry, invalid credentials. Try again. Okay. Only thing when we are doing it, just remember the component scan is also required. And this one is here, this thing, which we are writing in earlier days with this one config. So this we are writing in that way. Okay, so we have done. I hope you understood. I will share the case study and both of it. So can you try at your end after that? Yes. What is the name? Manikant. Your problem resolved or it's still there? Resolved. Yes. Okay. 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 So if we stay, got it. Okay. 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 Oh, sorry. I have not seen the name of some because I was not discussing this. It is giving me when I'm using post. Okay. Okay. So we have to. Okay. Okay. So maybe I have not seen all the messages all the time. So okay. Okay. It was you. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Because I was just click on that and not noticing who actually messaged this. So it will definitely work actually. It's a fully proven thing. So don't worry about that. Post, get, delete, put. Get means we are fetching the records. Okay, okay. You will let me know what you written. Yes, yes. I will need to check. I will let you know in next. Okay, okay. Okay. No problem. No problem. It's just see what was I giving telling you like get means we are getting the records data. Post means we are adding the record. Put means we are going to update the record. Delete means we are going to delete the record. These four HTTP protocols you must all doing it in the REST application. Form. Which form? Oh, yeah, need to know. Yes, yes, yes. That's quite. I will share it right now. Tonight, why not you do it today itself? Okay. So I will share it. You just import this one, go to the file, import it, and run it. And then next time, without seeing it, try to write the code as like that. So it will be a practice flow. Okay, but it will take time. In generally, this case study required 2 hours, 3 hours to complete, and all those things as on an average. Okay, so this will share it. And who are saying a lot of issues, just forget the name. A lot of doubts. Can you tell me what is type of doubts? Just 5 minutes only. I'm going to the break. Then we'll come with next case study, as I promised you with the form validation. So I have this example. We'll try to explain. It's again a big program. Okay, but what is it? Java's okay, 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 okay. Yeah, wait, wait, wait. Okay, so I'm thinking something else. I just try to what I was saying like a login applications. Now I have another example with Bakingo Cake Service, which you are seeing on the first program. It's a big program, with including the form validation. So I want you to learn these concepts also, the form validations also. Okay. So for that, we'll take this Bakingo Cake Service and we'll explain the code also after the break. Okay, then we'll go with the project metro ticket booking with the data JPA. So it will hardly we have time left. So we'll go for a 20 minutes break, 11:05. So almost 11:25 we'll join. We'll take another case study for baking cake service. And this also you must learn the form validations. Okay. Then after that we will go with the database with the JPA. And I will give one more case study to you, and you take your time and do at your convenience tomorrow and share me the code in case if you can do it. Otherwise, I will show you. Okay, so at least three case studies. I think you will be having clarity on the process of having a Spring Boot application. Okay, so this is what required. Okay. Yes, I just not see Java is not servlet error. Okay. So you want to share the screen? Can I see right now or after the break if I can check that for 5 minutes? It's a simple problem, so I can see that and will try to resolve. Once it is okay, okay, after break. Yes, yes. I'm also exhausted with this, so I'll just give me 20 minutes. I will come back after some. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Once again after the break. I hope you have taken your dinner or snacks in between. So the Java servlet error. Can you share your screen for the time being? 5 minutes. If can take up this issues, or you will do it later on. Tell me. Class not found things. So later on. Okay. Okay. No problem. So that's okay. So we'll resume the sessions for the next example. That is going to be the form validations. Okay. So this Spring Boot applications with the form validations. So you don't have to download any Spring Boot application. If you are using STS, you have a Spring Starter project itself. So that simply go to the file and take a Spring Starter project. First time maybe it is not available in the starting one. So click on others. Okay, and in other you will get the list of it, those menus. So Spring Starter project, and next it will have the same environment over here online. Start.spring.io, the server service URL, and all things are configured. Next, here you can add as many dependencies like technology complex project wise. We can add those requirements happen. So we can add Spring Data JPA and all those things, and the MySQL. So we can search here and get that. Those things which are not available, we can manually from the repository, Maven repository, we can add. Okay, in the pom.xml. So here just first thing you have to do is the web. You don't have to add the Spring Web MVC. It will manage internally Spring Web MVC also. So only the web is enough here for starting the normal web applications project. So web starter web. Okay, so these things remember because one of you asked like downloading things. Here you can have this internally inbuilt. So no need to download. Next and finish, you will get the project structure. But this project will not contain the web app part of it. So you can create manually by right click on that, the SRC main, right click web app, and then the next thing is the folders. Further you can create after that the JSP folder on the web app, web INF and the JSP. So those are things and give the path of it in the dot properties file. Now next one, just 1 minute. It's a form validation. So let me one more thing which I wanted to discuss this also to you here compared to normal Spring MVC. You have to write the project name also after the local host in the project Spring MVC / login you have to write. But in the boot, it is directly booting. You can see there is nothing, just simply localhost, port number, whatever given on the server, it will automatically run. If I change the port number, it will directly route to that. So easy actually. In the previous example, in the applications properties, so 8085 for this port number, if you make it 2022, next time when you start it, it will run on this port number directly. So this embedded server, Tomcat server actually has done such a great thing for us that this problem of configuration things are no longer exist. Hassle-free running, and those problems, external Tomcat servers creating a lot of problems earlier because you have just started these things, but we have graduated from seeing those configurations where 70 to 80% time actually invested towards the finding the configuration issues. Code is perfectly correct. Like one of the associate was saying that class not found things and all. So code is correct, everything is proper, but still the configurations are creating the problems. and it's a fact actually. So boot actually is something booting. Boot when you boot your system, what you do? You start the system, then internally it checks all mouse, keyboard, and RAM, everything. Then the system starts. Similar aspects is here. It checks all the configuration things and it boot the MVC. So model view controller architecture MVC is running actually, but on the top of it the boot is running. So boot is booting the MVC, model view controller. If you go with the 100% MVC model, then you have to add the external server and still the configuration things will come. Those things are separated here with this aspect of having dot properties file. You can bootstrap the data or the required parameter, this configuration things, and it takes from that. So these introductions are necessary so that you can identify the differences and the benefit from the Spring MVC to the Spring MVC using a Spring Boot. Okay, so this was the main requirement. Now we'll go with quickly with the form also. Next case study, if I can share with you. Next case study, baking. So it has the same aspects, slightly different from the previous one. That is the form things, the Spring MVC hands-ons. Okay, it's like Spring MVC and Hibernate JSR validations. A part. So okay. So what is the given here? A party without any cake is just a meeting. So it's a something like some phrases actually. Is a popular saying. No celebration is complete without a piece of cake. It brings happiness. Is the best reminder of all joys of life. Want to have the cake and eat it too? Yes, why not? So client decide to provide service to customer. Client need web application, making a cake service to allow customer. You won't get on Google. It's a different MNC. Okay, so it's not only one. I have around 20, 40 cases study. I don't have the time. I will share it to you, Neha, don't worry. Okay. So we give the student because in our scenario it's like weekend sessions. No? Generally it happens for others also for regular sessions. So it takes 4, 5 days, 6 days for the Spring Boot. Then we go with the Spring Rest like that. So the process are we need to do fast track because you are also having some actually planned accordingly. There's means the tenure and durations everything. So we have to map with this timeline only. So we need to do the things as per the curriculum so that it can be managed within this timeline. Otherwise, we don't have that much time that 8 hour sessions and we can do multiple things in one day, right? So here, what I was studying here, just see this one. Baking a cake service to allow customer can place the order. Using this application, now customer can treat themselves and their loved ones to instant happiness with just a click. The customer provides the order details that should be stored in a collection, and customer can view the status of order status along with the bill amount. So what is going to happen that customer will give some interface where user can click it. Client will give some interface where one user can click and order the booking of the cake with different flavors and all. Okay, and the bill amount will be generated. The baking of cake service web application aims at the following features. Place the order by providing order details. Number one, View the order status along with the bill amount after successful order. So the current scenario will be same. The model, the being controller service. Okay. Data design. This project currently does not connect with the database server and therefore uses the in-memory storage using Java collection hash map. Okay, so we will collect the data in the hash map to perform read or write operations related to the scope of the application. Okay, so it is clearly mentioned over here. Component design, component name, SRC main web app, web INF, views, place order.jsp. So the JSP page has to be designed in this way with the CSS and all. Okay, so the JSP is used by the user to place the order. The URL of this page is going to be the controller thing. So URL show cake order form, which will return the place order.jsp, which has to be launched on the browser's address bar, which means that it is HTTP GET request. The page looks something similar to the image given below. So this is what the customer can buy the cake from the Baking Cake service. The size of the cake, it's a round cake, 6-inch serves 8 people, 8-inch 12 people, 10-inch 16, and 12-inch 30 people. So customer will depend on the party number of members can take that size of the cake, and then the filling flavors. It's having the drop down over here. You can see this drop down. We have the flavors like pineapple, chocolate, all those flavors. So first it has to decide for how many members they are going to have, and accordingly the price will be decided. So for round cake 12-inch serves 30 people, it's a $30. So in the business logic, they will ask again to convert dollar to Indian rupees also. So there are four radio buttons. Sorry, four radio buttons are there. Then one drop down is there. So here this drop down will have those flavor actually, and this will come from the service layer. So that is also interesting. This example is a great example with all the things. Okay, so at least you get those understand like how these things are done. No values are coming to the JSP pages, but it is coming to the service to the controller to the JSP in this drop down. Okay, now we have include candles $5, include inscriptions $5, enter inscription. So here you can write happy birthday. So yeah, any occasions we can write like that. Okay. So this is given for the enter inscription, then the contact detail, where this has to be sent, means the user details or customer details rather, name, address, phone number. Now these fields are mandatory fields. So we need the form validations. The previous example was without any validations, but in real-time scenario, we need the validations to perform before it is going to the next to the database and storing some values. So we have to filter those things. Okay, so contact details. Now place order. When the user click on the place order, so it will generate the bill, and that bill will be in model data. It returns on the next page. All the levels are already created as per the above page, and CSS style already added. The following. So generally what happened that case studies, students are given 2 hours time, and some basic skeleton code is given. In everywhere I have seen in every MNC, they are not asking you to write the code from starting onwards. They will write all the things, method, controller, service, everything returning null like that. So that the advantage are even in case CSS is already given. Why they give like some time to save? So the boilerplate code in some organization is called boilerplate code, which is given to the students, and they don't have to create this Maven project starting onwards. So the basic structure is already provided generally, and in some organization it is called like code skeleton part of it. So that is given. The following table provides the input component. So form should be, yeah, instead of null. Yes, yes, correct. Your understanding is great. Yes, good. Yes. So the basic structure is same now for all the things. So that will at least half an hour time unnecessarily will be given for this basic structure. So they will not give you the blank things. They will give you one project already with the boilerplate codes with returning null all the places. With the method name, request mapping, everything. So we need to method equals to they will not do it anything. So that way you need to at least fill those, enter the details. So in all MNCs are following this kind of guidelines. So they have the cloud platform actually, in which these codes are already the part of the code, boilerplate code are provided. Getter setters like that, constructors like that, that will also be given, because so taking one case study will normally take 2 hours anytime. You will never feel that it taken 2 hours to write the controller service bean and all those things and JSP pages and all uh, errors debugging and etc. Takes more than 2 hours. Okay, anyhow, we just conclude these things. Form should name and not ID already provided. Selected cake radio button. Selected cake 1 2. What is this actually? This is the page actually form. Form should not be name ID already provided. Is selected cake 1 2 3 4. So we have 4 different type of cakes, right? So that is given here. Selected cake, but ID and value should be different. Value mentioned as per the label. Instructions 10, 15, 25 and 30 respectively. Okay, so that is the designing of UI part. Okay, flavor drop down. So it is a drop down. This is a radio button. So your form. But here one thing is very interesting. The field lists the entire filling flavors type into the drop down list. User can select their flavor types from the drop down list. But later on it will be clarified that it will not come through the JSP page. Any hard coded value. Okay. So include candles, checkbox, name include candle. This is a checkbox field. Value should be 5. Include inscriptions checkbox. This checkbox field value should be 5. The inscription text box. The inscription holds the wishes message. Name. The field holds the customer name. Address text box. This field holds the customer address. Phone number text box. This field holds the phone number. Place order. Place order, submit. When the button is clicked, the URL that has to be executed is order status. Okay, so when click on that, it will go to the order status and it will be linked with the controller, okay, which is declared in the action attribute of the form tag. The type of the HTTP method is get. This URL has been mapped to the get order status at the rate valid, at the rate model attribute cake, binding result. One more thing is model map. So it is a linked hash map where we can add the data and display on the next page. So in memory, that is what it is saying it. So one additional things they have added here is a model map. So model map is a map class extending the linked hash map. So the data which is taken by the user will be added and it will hold it and to display to the next page. So after the calculation of the logic of how much is the price of the kit, like that. Note, the values in the filling flavor drop down must be auto-populated from the controller with the values as given in the below table. They should not be populated hard-coded inside the JSP. So these are the flavors: none, $0, custard, raspberry, and pineapple, cherry, apricot, buttercream, chocolate. These are the flavor with the price tag. So it will be decided with that price how much it is cost. But this is important that it should not be populated or hard coded the JSP inside the JSP. So this drop down which we are seeing, this should not come from the JSP page, but it should come from the service to controller to populate in this here. And that logic is slightly, we'll explain that in the code, is a kind of it which is actually needed in our projects also, like that only. So it's very easy that in the JSP page, you just add the option list and you can do it. But we will not do the option list. We will use model attribute to display from the controller to the JSP page. Okay, so this is one of the good things which is additional things here. And component name again, SRC main web app web INF use order status.js. So second component is order status. First one was the where the given data collected with that cake and all. This page displays order confirmation status. When all the details are entered are added to collection successfully, it should print the message following message. It should print the message in H2 tag. Then H2 tag ID should be status. This one. Now the model map will show into the next map. This one. Your order has been successfully placed. Order ID is 1001. Order date something like that. Amount in dollar $35. Then amount in rupees 2625. Okay. So it's a small party, but this one is 2625. Business validations for component. Name field is mandatory. Error message if validation fails. Name is required. Phone number should be 10 digits. Phone number field is mandatory also. Phone number is required. Address field is mandatory. Address is required. Selected cake use not null annotations. Must select one option. So these are the validations, business validations for the component. So from the previous example, this one is a bigger example. And here these validations are included with the bean level validations. So how we can do that? So this will say must select one option, name is required, address is required, phone number should be 10 digit, then it will place the order. Technical requirement. Okay. So it's like selected integer, string, flavor rate, include candles, include inscriptions. You have to do the getter setters. These are the variables which will take it attributes. Then the getter setters will take it. Okay, so these flavors are having, if the constructors add to the data into flavor type attribute, the following table provides flavor type and rate value information here. So this is the rate 0, 5, 10, 5, 6, 8, 7, 10. Okay, order list. So order list will return the map integer. This is our wrapper object integer and the object cake. The static attribute initializes with new hash map. Flavor list map returning. So this will be doing in the service layer. all the three things: order list, flavor list, order ID. Then the class provide add order method, which is used to add the data into the collection. Cake type. This method pre-increment order ID and cake object and order list. So this I will explain with the all the things gradually, because a lot of things are there. You won't be able to remember such all the things. So let's just see this code and then we'll discuss one by one aspects of it. Okay. So here just closing it, all those things, close it, stop it. Bakingo cake service. Okay. SRC main Java, and first of all, this is our application. So this is okay. Spring Boot application. Component scan will be done. Bakingo cake service application. Okay, before that, this form.xml and all. Okay, so we have this few things are unnecessarily given. So because sometimes demo purpose we add it, but not forget to remove it. Okay, so we have the here Spring Boot starter validation dependency. Java Spring framework, the validations we have added this one. Spring Boot starter validation, you can find this one. Jasper is there, embedded server, and JUnit testing and all. All validations are not done in one of the examples because doing with the JUnit and all, so we'll discuss with the testing and all. So here you need the same thing. DevTools also, Spring Boot DevTools, if you take it equivalent to the starter wave. Okay, so this also you can add is instead of the starter wave. Both are equally okay. So runtime, this thing. So these are the dependencies. Okay, and all otherwise the same dependency which I have given in the previous example is okay. It will work with that. So this is additional one because of the dependency things I was giving some demo. Now in the resource page applications.properties, we need to write the port number. Any port number you decide 4-digit, it will run on that itself. That is so simple. And web-inf views. Here the views folder in the source code src main/java. Sorry, this web-inf views, order status and place order. Place order is this form which have been given already. They have given the code skeleton for this one, like the CSS part. So this is our, how many types of selectors are there in the CSS? You studied the CSS or not? Cascading style sheet? No. So directly done the bootstrap. Bootstrap also not done. Okay. So now you are talking about the full stack developer, FSD. Okay, in the next phase. Okay, okay. So HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, Bootstrap, Angular, UI component, then you can be a full stack developer. Okay. Earlier days was like we have our responsibility writing the logic only. But now full stack means UI stack you have to do it. Then you have to do the business logic stack also with the Spring. Then you will be good in the database stack also. MySQL, MongoDB, etc. And also you have to test the code, JUnit. One has to do all those things. That is what the full stack. Okay. So these things in next phase. So please do that. These things are very important because the look and feel will be changing. This is called ID selector. Means we have three types of selector in the CSS. Tag selector like S2 or paragraph tag. Then we have the class selector when we use the dot, that is class selector, and then we hash means ID selector. So automatically it will change the color of that particular uh, when we are calling the wrap. So this one, and when we are calling the legend, wrap legend dot content details. So you have seen this form design, which is actually coming like that. The structure will come with this only. Without CSS, HTML is very dull actually. So these things is part of it, UI part of it. So they provided those codes because maybe initial stages you may not have covered those things. So they provide already this kind of things. But this one, again, the order status here, div ID, they are calling the wrap. So what will happen? This wrap is having width, margin, text align, left, padding. These are the spacing, background, font family, font size, line height. This will automatically call over this division ID div. So that means you have not done the HTML also. So you have no idea about HTML. Previously you have not done. Little bit. Okay, okay. Because I was just when explaining to you. Okay, okay, man. JSP, that time I was internal thinking like you are aware of the HTML, na? So what is the problem? So I was writing in that way. So you are not able to identify the difference path, input path. But in HTML we write input type text and name equals to this like that. Different. So okay, I now understand that you have not identified the difference actually. I was thinking like you can understand that this string form is slightly different from the HTML form. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, yes, part of the front end. UI, user interface. But Bootstrap when it comes, now who will do the HTML? Means the HTML is learning stage, okay. But Bootstrap is a framework of CSS, JavaScript, HTML. They have inbuilt classes, you just call it and you get the miracle design, magical design, writing the class name of that. Bootstrap is such a great thing. So if you have the practice of Bootstrap, responsive side. Okay, okay. Uh, Front end, we do not seek the. Okay, okay. Yes, yes, I understood. But front end is required now how to display those things. Anyhow, no problem. Just going with that. But front end, please take into the next phase. And the Bootstrap is a advanced level of front end design, where you don't have to write the logic, much logic. Okay, okay. I got your point, but have to discuss that also for a few seconds. So I understood. Now we go into the controller. Okay, bean. First of all, look at the bean. Here the validations are done. So for that, we are using the javax.validation dot constraints, not empty, not null, pattern like that. So this is like my normal bean file earlier. So here we write at the rate not null, or you can write not empty. So it is saying must select one of on which selected cake. So this is my bean validation at the rate not null. Spring framework has provided means in the javax.validation.constraints. Okay, so this not directly from the Spring framework, but the Java environment itself, javax.validation.constraints. So this is going to be the form validations purpose. So how many fields are there? We have cake, selected cake, flavor rate, include candles, include inscriptions, the inscriptions, name, then address, then phone number, then the price. These are the getter setters are there. So getter setters, so same thing. There is no difference. Correct? So the bin validations which will come, I'm just coming one by one. Then the controller. So cake controller, then we have the service layer, cake service layer. Three things will be there all the time, right? Okay. So these three things, okay, just 1 minute, 1 minute. This time. Okay, so we'll uh, see this as per our forms. Okay, so the validation part and all these things. Okay, and the controller we are writing the same thing like as we have discussed, calling to the service. So first identify the structure here. Cake is the bean and this controller then the service. So and these are the JSP page. So the basic structure I hope you understood this one. Now we have the cake.java starting one. So these are the getter setters and we have this one validation inputs at the rate not null. So we can pass this message must select one option. So when the form is called that time this not null will give this message. So annotation based is more easier, right? Open declarations going there. Interface yes must not be null. Okay, so this will check if it is null, then it will generate this message. Okay, understood? Then these are having no validations. If you want, you can do it. Then we have name. So there is not empty also. Open declarations. These all are Java language validations constraints. Must not be null nor empty, both. Okay, so it should not be null or empty both. So that is at the rate not empty. So at the rate not null basically is valid. It is not null, but it can be empty. Okay, so null and empty is a slightly variation. Means at the rate null means must have one option. But if we say at the rate not empty, that means it should not be null also, it should not be empty also. So this name is required, not empty, address is required, not empty, phone number is required. But phone number, a regular expression in Java, you have done anything on that. At the rate pattern, this is our pattern actually. D stands for digit and it should be 10 digit. In the curly braces, we are writing dollar with this 10. So it should take only 10 digits. Otherwise, it will say message phone number should be 10 digits. Okay, so all the things are later on same. Now coming to the service layer, it is a quite big one. So service layer, we have these three things. First is map returning, integer cake, order list, flavor list, and order ID. As for the UI, I will say that PDF, you please also check that. Okay. So this one for the order list, flavor list. So this example basically is taken from the Cognizant. And last time I've given for the Capgemini, I little modified this thing. So this one is for the Cognizant. So you are asking like where you will get that. Okay. So order list, flavor list, order ID, these are the three things. So public static map, integer cake, order list, new hash map. And this returning the map with string, integer, key value pair. Okay. So flavor list here, new linked hash map. What is the difference between hash map and linked hash map? In Java you have done, right? So what is the difference here? We have two static variables, order list means basically static members, order list, new hash map, new linked hash map, and order ID. So this is in tune with this one. Okay, that also, if you see this, the service layer, where is the service layer? Cake service, LIFO, last in, first out. For whom? Hash map is random. Okay, yes. So it has order list, node linked. Node linked, linked hash map. Okay. Okay, I've just discussed this. See, this variable name order list, flavor list, order ID, which we are given here. Order list, flavor list, order ID. Okay, and data type map, and integer. Static attribute is initialized with new hash map. Static attribute is initialized with new linked hash map. Static attribute is initialized with 1000 initial value. Now, this one we have taken in constructor as per the guidelines in the note. It's like that. Cake service. So let us see, this one is added in the service layer. Okay, cake service constructor we are populating with flavor list. That is my map type dot put linked new hash map, so none. This is my key. This is my value. Okay, so string integer, right? This is again the string. This is integer. Key value pair put. So what was it? I was telling you the difference here, linked hash map. When it will be populating, it will populate in the same order. Linked, it is linked actually, hash map. Yes, correct, very correct. That is what the difference. Hash map, you can't give any guarantee. If I take in the hash map, maybe raspberry pineapple will come on the top or chocolate below like that. But the moment you use the linked hash map, another concrete class implementation of the map interface, the difference is that it will linked. First none will come, then custard, it will be in the same sequence. It will populate in the form. Okay. So Java time we discussed those things, list, set, queue, map, four things. And they are having corresponding sub interfaces and implementing concrete classes. Okay, so you can now also see this one, open declarations, say constructor, and this is a collection framework. So I'm just going to wrap up because it's time taking. So just third one is another add order method. So first constructor to populate flavor list, clear? Then second method is taken add order, because as per the business logic they have given some add order also. Okay, so I'm just calling it add order, this one. This method pre-increment order ID, add the cake object into order list and return the order ID. So this basically cake service, this I modified this one. In this class constructor, add the data into the flavor type. Following table provides flavor type. So this is the data. Then the variable name, data type, responsibilities. This class also provide add order method, which is used to add data into the collection. So add order cake int like this. Okay. So after that another one. So add order. This is bean object. Order list. Order list is what? This one. Initial value given how much? 1000. Dot put, and what it is going to put, this order ID. So plus order ID cake. Okay, so this will put this one, return the order ID. So when we order the cake, that time what will happen? It will have 1001. Next time the add order will call and it will make it, see here, return type is a wrapper object. Okay, so order ID it is returning with the order list. Order list, where is that order list? This one. Okay, so order list is having integer and the cake. So we are returning this one, put integer and cake, order ID. Order ID means 1000, then 1001. Next time when you call it, it will increment by one more, 1002. Since it is static, so hope you understand that meaning of it. For every instance, it will not start from the 0 onwards, means initial value. If it is a instance variable without a static, then next time again it will become 101, after 1001, then after again it will become again next time 1001 only. But once it is increased in the memory, the other instances will share that value. Okay, so the difference is this one for a static purpose. So we have taken the order ID, static one, and we are incrementing it. So first time it increment with 1001, next time 1002, like that. Okay. So this is our service layer bean. I hope you have understood the bean level. These constraints are taken, and the service level we have three things: order list, flavor list, and the order ID. So flavor list we have added this one, and order ID and order list we are having this type. So we are incrementing add order method this one, order list, which is of type hash map, and it is having put order ID plus this key value. So in last thing is controller, and controller, this one, first thing is auto wired. It's using the date and set also, validation valid also. These are the basically you need to import. So cake controller class, auto wired with cake service. Okay, so it will be directly accessing the cake service method of the constructor and all. So this dependency is given in this class. Request mapping values show cake order form. Then it will return place order form.jsp. It has a model attribute cake and cake. Okay, clear? Next, second one is having full of the logic. Okay, so here when user clicks place order, so I'm going to show you that place order.jsp. It goes to the order status, model attribute cake, method post. These are the radio buttons. So see here the string basically this string form. Okay, these are the CSS for designing purpose. Selected ID, here radio button path. ID is selected cake 1, selected cake 2, selected cake 3, 4. It was given in the form UI things, okay, which is there. And this is a serve 8 people, 12 people, round cake, like that, all these things are there. And radio button path, ID, value. So it is because we are going to add the cost of it. So when the user clicks, the value will be like this. And if error is string framework dot colon errors path selected cake. So it will not it will be there only that if any error, so it is in the selected cake itself. So this the radio button filling flavors drop down. Here it is coming through the controller flavor list. They did not use option or data list or anything to get the value directly populated. Okay, and others are like label for this checkbox, checkbox. These are the HTML component only, purely label, checkbox, radio button input. In between, they are using the SF colon so that this becomes the string form. Okay, and the path and ID is going to come with this SF. Otherwise, the HTML checkbox will have the name ID and the value. Path will not be there. That is in HTML, that is the difference. And it has a model attribute kit which will add into the controller request mapping. Okay, so this is the form label, name, name ID, path, all are mapped. If you notice this one, same actually in the cake, this flavor and all. So it is parallelly mapped with this. Okay. Now last thing in the controller, cake controller, we have few logics here. First we are saying, yes, one thing, order status post status at the rate valid, because we are going to take the min validation. So we have to pass at the rate valid, at the rate model attribute, cake, this thing, binding result, and the last thing is model map. So what is this model map? It is a class which extends linked hash map. Linked hash map is a having class linked hash map, K and V, key and value pair. So this model map is basically representing the linked hash map, extending it, subclass. So it is going to take the memory data, in-memory data, that is what going to come. And then we will set those data. So valid attribute, so this valid is used for the bin level validations. We are having at the rate valid. Okay. So method parent or method return type for validation cascade. Constraint defined on the object. So its properties can be validated when the property method parameter return type is validated. Entire aspects of a Spring framework is highly depend on the annotations. And few annotations is starting with is a good idea, because we can create the form directly. But why I am giving these things to you? Because you must be knowing that without validations, we should not go ahead with project level coding, right? You can write in the same way which we have done in the previous way. Only thing is difference in this case is we are having one full-fledged form, string form, which is having some validations. So we are calling into the controller with this request mapping post method, get order status with at the rate valid, at the rate model attribute, binding result is there for success and failure, and then there is a last one is a model map that is also added. Now this model map is going to take the linked map data, collect those data, setting things will be done after that, you will see shortly in this case. Redirecting to the same page, same form if invalid. So result has error. Now here you can see the binding result has error. So it's having add all errors, get error count, get all errors. So it is basically error handling, because in this case we are not means having this thing place order or order status, but initially we are saying if it has errors, return place order. Okay, so this place order means it will again come back to this page. Okay, so see the magic of it. These things are they are passing and using it with it's highly means, advanced level of annotation, and the interfaces classes they are having here. Assigning the flavor list value in the flavor list map to the cake objects. So first we will get the cake flavor, then the set the flavor. So cake dot is cake. When I select something, you just observe that it is selecting all those things. And they are the same things. Okay. Dot set flavor list. In the bin we have set actually. So user will take some flavor, right? So from where? Cake service. Cake service is our service layer. Okay. Cake service dot flavor list. Okay. Now here dot get cake dot get flavor. So when user select some flavor, suppose user selected chocolate. So it will store that set flavor rate, set flavor rate, yes. So this is the coding given from the service layer. This is selected and it will be storing into the set flavor. This is for the error place order. This is for getting those values from the list drop down. Now to prevent the null, two things has been done apart from that. It was given in that case study. Get candle, include candle equals to null. So see this form, include candles. Now it is having not done with the validation, so how they are trying to manage this is going to give you this idea also. Include candle $5, select or not select. Okay, so here for this purpose, if somebody not selecting, then the price will be taking those things, some null will come. So error will come. So what is actually done in the logical end, cake dot get include candles. So get include candles is my bin. Okay. Now equals to null. Then what you do, set include candles value as a 0 to prevent null pointer exception. So this is also one of the way to handle with the Java coding. Similarly, they have taken for the inscriptions to prevent null pointer exception. Include inscription and include candles. Two things are there. Include inscriptions, include candles. So here the validations are not used. So it is used to the Java. They are doing with the 0, they are assigning it if user is not selected any value. Okay. Here you just select pineapple, then it will be from that it will set the value. Okay, understood. And now we have to calculate the price, setting the cake price. Now user has selected all those things. So cake dot set price. What is this price? This price we have calculated over here, little over here. Cake dot get selected cake plus get flavor rate plus get include candles plus get include inscriptions. So all things, if it is not added, it will add 0 and then the price will come. Finally, we'll set the price. Here we are doing the flavor setting, then setting the price. And adding cake object to the order list map and getting the order ID value. So order ID equals to cake service that dot add order cake. Add order will have this here. It will increment by 1. So in the controller, we have created this order ID integer variable cake service dot add order cake. So first time I plus plus, so it will make 1001. Initial value is given 1000, it will make 1001. So this is all about that purpose. Now the last thing is few more things which we will taking it is adding all the above objects to the model map to make them accessible in the view. Map dot add attribute. Okay. Map dot add attribute. Those things which we have get set those values. Cake, cake. Indian price. Cake dot get price into 75. Now it is 80 almost. Okay. So add attribute order ID, order date, new date, to string. Current date it will print. So in the model map we are adding these things. And in the view, in the order status, we'll retrieve it. Okay, with the ID status. So your order has been successfully placed and this model map data will fetching over here. Okay. Add attribute. After adding it, we are getting those things. Cake, Indian price, order ID, order date. Okay. So order ID, order date, get price, Indian price, all things we are sending over here. Returning the appropriate view page based on the given conditions. Return order ID. This also is one of the conditions that if order ID is greater than 1000, then go to the order status, else go to the place order. So this will check also this condition is valid or not. Otherwise, if it is okay, then it is order status, the place order. And the very last thing is the at the rate model attribute. This was I was talking about. That how the data is displaying over here. This data, not this one, this one. It has to come from the service to the controller to the JSP view page. Okay. So this here at the rate model attribute at method level to pass a model object to the views. Very clearly mentioned if you observe it. It is at the rate model attribute at a parameter level, argument level. But at the rate model attribute as a method level here. Okay, so at the rate model attribute at method level to pass a model object to the views. In this case, we are passing set object, populated flavors list set. So here returning set, populated filling set. So this flavor list and this flavor list we are passing actually, and this return cake service dot flavor list dot key set. So what is the role of key set? See, we will get return types set actually. So we are taking here just 1 minute controller. Model attribute flavor list, and this flavor list we will actually, where is the place order? We are retrieving something. Okay. Now with this we are retrieving here, and in the controller model attribute we are having populate filling list method is going to call with this flavor list, which is having return type set because we are returning the key set. So cake service dot flavor list. Flavor list is this flavor list. Now through the key set we get those values 0, 5, 10. key value pair. So we get the values, key values. So this one we are retrieving here in the place order page with this data. So controller is going to pass this object to the view using @model attribute at the method level, and which is returning the set view of it. So this controller returning set type is string populate filling list. Why it is set required? Because key set will return uh, set only, so we have to take the return type set. Java, one thing is very important, you must be very clear in Java that return type. Otherwise, it will give full of errors. Because the method here I am using key set, and this properly just check what is actually this one. Is set view of the keys contained in the map. And its return type is set. So views of the keys contained in the map. Return views of the keys contained in this map. So it will return the keys or not. Correct? What is the key here? Non-zero. Trusted 5. That's very this. So it is said here that set type return key set from the clever list and populate to the JSP page. The starting one is order status. These are the arguments we have. If error goes to this page again, but you have to set the value when user select get this thing, set it. Conditions to avoid the null pointer. Price is calculated with that logic. Then set the price. Order ID has to be there. Cake service order ID. And these are the values. So we can fetch through the model map to the view. Next view, that is JSP page on order status. We will retrieve these things. Cake, Indian price, order ID, order date, like that. So model map is giving me add attribute, and there we get attribute. So on the JSP page. Now this order ID also one condition, it should be greater than 1000 only. Then it should order status. It will throw this because I need to place the order. So there can be two instances of it, order errors. One is my validation fails. There is a blank value. Second is that after all these things checked, then the second condition has to be checked that everything is passed, there is no error, no validation is also cleared. But again, one more check is that because I have to decide which page it has to render now. So everything goes well, then we have to say like order status or place order. So what is the condition? 1000 greater than 1000 means 1001, 1002, next time 3. So based on that, it will have this. And this one is given for the populating through the model, through the object to the view. So @model attribute is used. Okay. So this case study and this also I will share to you. You will have tomorrow's time also. Please study at your end, check the code, and once you have any doubt, again we will discuss in tomorrow's class in the beginning. Okay, right? So at least you got the idea, the purpose, how this form validations and all, and how we are populating to the JSP pages. No direct value connected to the service and all. Let's run this also in case this things JSP pages. We have only two JSP pages, but it is properly designed. Okay, so backing of X service, I'm just run as a Spring Boot application. /9090/. the controller, when we go to the controller, we have the show cake order form. This is the form which we have gotten, and this keys, see, these are the keys which we are retrieving, and these are the conditions you have to select, then the price will be selected on this. All are interactive forms, and this design, legend, and CSS all are coming to the CSS cascading style sheet. Otherwise, it will be just like a normal HTML form. Means the UI looks better if you add CSS, and in the Bootstrap, that also you don't have to do it. It's like they have already inbuilt class, and just call this class, you will get magical design, responsive website, zoom in, zoom out in the mobile level, which we do it. All are done in the Bootstrap. Means this is a technology which is very popular, Bootstrap framework for HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So it's same like the methods are already provided in the Spring framework. Similar to that Bootstrap, they use the HTML, CSS, JavaScript and created their own classes. You use their name and you will get in seconds a great design. So you start from HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Otherwise, if you start with the Bootstrap directly, then you will never go with the HTML thing. So one by one steps, you must go with the UI. So that is also equally important for our purpose of training. Okay, now we select, suppose I am just submitting this one, place order. Name is required, address is required, phone number should be 10 digit, phone number is required, all things are coming. Must select an option. So these are the validations of the form. Okay, so this bin level validations which we have done, at the rate null, not null, at the rate not empty, and some regular expressions, patterns, etc. You can manage this thing. Suppose I am taken this one for 30 people. This one, my favorite cake. Chocolate is also okay. Now, if I select it, it will be $5. If I do not select, it will be 0. Okay. If I take this $5, otherwise it will be 0 as per the logic. Okay. So we cannot say no. That's why the validations are not done for this. That user may not like to do it or may like to do it both. So you cannot force that you have to select and pay the $5. So the logical thinking are like that only. The design things are not started like coding, we do it directly. On paper it is all fully decided. And the case studies are like that way, gives you the proper idea that this is what actually we are looking for. Okay, so we must think all the thinking into the understanding. Then it is not like this case studies are prepared in one day. What you said? See and submit. Okay. Yeah. So select this one, $5. Enter the inscriptions. Happy birthday. I think every day someone's birthday is there today. Name is required. You can do this name, Vijay, address, Mumbai, phone number, place order. Again, it will say here itself. Phone number should be 10 digit. Okay, now we'll do the 10 digit. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now place order. So after setting those values to the model map, it will add and retrieve on the next JSP page. Place order. Your order has been successfully placed. Order ID 1001. Order date Saturday, June 25th, 20. Okay, 10:40 is over. Oh my God, time is passing like anything. IST 2022, amount in dollars, $48. And it's very costly for Indian rupees, 75, even it's more than 4,000 K. Okay, next time when you run this again, it will be increment. Same things, I'm just running again. So it's going to be 1002. Static taken, that is the reason it is going to increment by 1 from the previous state. If it is instance variable, it will return to 1000. Okay. So my question is that you understood the concepts from validations and how order data is saving. Data is a model map. It's a in-memory saving, na? Linked hash map. Yes. No, someone was asking a name I can't read actually. So maybe some, yeah, link with the map. Obviously. No. Who is asking the name actually? I'm not getting that. It was your style Arun Kumar. Yes, Arun Kumar. In the here, see this model map. Why we have used this map? This map will have this add attribute. So you see here map dot add attribute, and then we retrieve on the JSP page these things. Oh, sorry, order status. Okay, so there we are saving it. I already told you that I am not using the database. First, you get around to with the beam controller service logical things. Database, one more repository layer will add. Now everything will be storing into the table and retrieve from that. Then you can have those Hibernate and JPA level implementations, but directly not to go to that only. What is that? If you stop, restart server and place order, what will be order ID? 1001? Okay. It is not storing anywhere. It's just the logical part. It's manipulating the things with the collections. So the question was like when you stop and run this thing, so it will not store anything. Next time it will be again starting from 10. Close this. Okay, I have to fill again. Yeah, that's a problem. So I'm not doing it. Okay, well, close this. So let me do it. Data filling also is. So now restarted it. Okay. Now you understood that. Restarted it. Now we'll go to this one. Not this one. So cake order form. So we will select this one. Name, Vijay, address, Delhi. Phone number again 9999. Place order 1001. It was clearly in the service layer given to this. That we have initially taken 1000 and we are making it to plus order ID and order list. This add order method we are calling there. Okay, in controller. So here we just taken this one and to the controller we connect with service to the controller. Once controller to the service. Auto wiring with that. Main things are this here. Yes, I will share it. And I will share one more case study. You please try and tell me about tomorrow. Okay. Yes, yes. So this one is if I have downloaded or not. Spring context checking. So if I download it, I will say BMI calculator. Practice such things for the business logic purpose. These things are very, very much required. So since we are very much constrained things, we are not having that limitations of doing multiple things. But still, I am trying my best so that yes, yes, all this I will share it. See, this case study I am just giving you. It is like uh, underweight, normal, overweight, obese. Okay, formula of calculating BMI. Weight in kg, height in meters into height in meters. Something like that, okay? Calculation for weight, 90 kg, something like that. Height equals to 1.5 meter. BMI 90 by this one, 40. So this is a BMI calculator. Enter name, phone number, height in centimeter, weight in kg, gender. So you can select from the drop down male and female and calculate BMI. So it will give that ID this, name is Smith, height 170 centimeter, weight 70 kg, BMI 25, you are overweight. So it has some formula, something, these are the validations, so some formula. Yeah, yeah. Overweight is 25 to 30. If BMI is greater than 30, it is obese. Okay, underweight is less than 18.5. Normal is this range, 18.5 to 25. If the calculations with this detail comes in, then it has to be in this category of you are overweight or underweight or obese. Like that, it should dynamically check the value. Okay, the logic part is written here. Views BMI status. So follow these instructions and write that way of doing it. BMI calculator form.jsp, and then so only 2 pages BMI status.jsp. And these are the win validations. Name required, phone number required, height required. Height should be greater than 0, weight is required, weight should be greater than 0, like this. Letters, and this gender type, and this one is our method name BMI controller and BMI service, these things. Okay, so you take your time tomorrow and try to do it. We'll discuss tomorrow also, but tomorrow we'll start the, oh my god, one more examples are left for today. Okay, so Spring Data JPA. Can we discuss it tomorrow now? So because it's going to have again taking time in that project level things. I wanted to discuss this project actually. So also I'm going to have so a lot of things, right? Because we have to close by 11. That's what. So that is why. Okay, you will also feel exhausted because first work into these 2 3 things with the case study. Then with the phase look, we'll take one project with Hibernate and JPA combinations. So without database, we have done all those things. So tomorrow we'll do with one MySQL database. Even I kept these things ready actually in the starting of the sessions and the project also. It's a big project, metro ticket booking. Okay, so there are several modules. several controllers, several bin files like that. So I want to show you tomorrow, that will be better. Okay, not today, because you must now focus on these three things which I have discussed. So already we have extended for 2 days, na? So no worries. In that last thing, if needed one more extra session, we can request after that. Okay, after 3rd July, so that we can adjust. Or if they allow us, then we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll wrap up on the next 2 sessions. But our side, JPA is pending, and then REST is pending, and then microservice and the DevOps. Okay, so Oracle DBMS. Oracle DBMS, how we will take it? Tell me. Means Oracle DBMS for what purpose? MySQL is open source. Now Oracle, you have the license and all required. Oracle DBMS, you want to learn the Oracle. Okay. So we'll give you the outline of it. Don't worry. But it's like it's including it's having a lot of topics: DDL, DML, constraints, primary key, not null, foreign key, and functions, operators, and joins, subqueries, index, views. All things are there. Database side is also very strong actually. Every topic is a big topic. So whatever possible, we'll try to justify. So you can understand the times and all. It's all things are 2 hours project case study, and in fact it takes 2 hours if you write the code and all. So I'm sharing this code to you now with in front of you only, so that you will say. Last time I had done it on the next day. I hope you have received it, because I was little that time thinking what to do. It was updating the system, so I could not do it. Okay, but this time I'm doing in front of you itself, so that you can please study it and update it, and whatever your doubts, we'll discuss it tomorrow morning. Okay, at least go with this examples, PDFs, and everything line by line. Check these things and get your doubt things clear. Today will not take that servlet problems, so I will take tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Yes, yes, I will share the link. 1 minute. Same drive link. Yes, simply learn. We have the simply learn folder actually. SL, I think it's this one. So new folder, 25th June 22. Creating it here. File upload. C drive, desktop, SL. First I'm sharing the PDFs. Okay. So get a good hold of this first of all. Okay, controller beam controller service architecture. Please try to get full logic implementations in this way. So you will be having very good in this Spring things. I must assure you, if you practice in this way. Okay. So one thing in downloaded folder. So this is not PDF. This is a Word file. Okay. Now the projects also. I'll upload. Where is that desktop? SL folder. Uh, this one, baking. I'm not created the Jeep. 1 minute. It's actually a login app, same thing. Okay. When we copy it, it comes like that. File upload, desktop, this one, login app. Bingo. So this one is for the current one, for the uh, form validations. File upload, this one, login app, making one more one here, the login app, this one, GG login portal. Okay, so I have said to you, and the path you are asking, right? 1 minute. So anyone with the link, you can access it, editor. Copy the link, and this one I'm sharing in the chat box to all participants. So is it accessible? Just check once. So tomorrow is starting with the project things, and then the rest applications. No? Why it is so? I've said these things. Anyone with this link accessible. So you check, Sumit. It is like to everyone. You can download also from that. You can download, not access. Then how it is possible? Did not match any document. Uh, can anyone confirm? You are using some restricted environment of office computer? Access, no? That's why I'm saying. Maybe Sumit is having some office computers, laptops you are using. Then you cannot access the Google Drive things. So can anyone in the group please share that further to Sumit? Okay. I think just refresh it, accessible now. Okay. I thought like what happened, this cannot be all fully accessible. So please try, and BMI in also please try. Okay. So we'll join at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Sorry, 7 p.m. Okay. Nikhil, are you there? Hello. Yes, yes. Good night to everyone. Thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow 7 p.m. sir. Okay. For further topic discussion. Thank you. Thank you. Good night to everyone. Thanks a lot. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Good night. Thank you. Bye. Bye.